Alberta Primetime with Michael Higgins.
Welcome to Alberta Primetime. Ahead tonight, our politics panel on Western premiers gathering in Yellowknife. But first, a meeting of financial minds.
The spirit around the table is constructive. The spirit around the table is action. The spirit around the table is to send a strong message to the world, and that's what is going to drive us over the next few days.
Canada's federal finance minister playing host in Banff this week to high-ranking officials from the world's top economies for a three-day summit with the global economy, war in Ukraine, and artificial intelligence among the issues up for discussion. A meeting that comes at a time of heightened trade instability over tariffs imposed by the Trump administration. To discuss that and more, we're joined now by Adam Legge, president of the Business Council of Alberta. Mr. Legge, good to see you, sir. Welcome back.
Good to see you, Michael. Thank you.
All right. Well, let's start on this G7 meeting of finance ministers in Banff. The message going in from Canada's finance minister about restoring stability and growth from a business sector standpoint. What does that need to translate to for you to consider these 3 days of meetings to be a success?
Well, I think first and foremost, I think we need to reset the table and demonstrate that Canada, frankly, is back as a global power that is, from a diplomatic standpoint, an economic standpoint, a natural resource standpoint, a place of significance. We really lost that over the past 10 years. We had a number of sort of political gaffes and misrepresentations, and I think it's time to show that Canada's back on the global stage. But more importantly, I think, is we've seen President Trump really disrupt the global economic order with respect to all of the trade uncertainties, the tariffs, the escalation that we saw after Liberation Day, really harming the markets and then a settling down. So we'd really like to see the G7 agree to a path that will restore some confidence, some certainty, some stability, and that we're not going to be at the whim of what the president decides at 2 a.m. For the next 4 years. So let's get a path to economic stability, trade, certainty, enabling the G7 nations, frankly, to get back to the business of global trade and free trade and improving each other's economies.
Is that on this current meeting of finance ministers? Or how do you see this paving the way to expectations for the Leaders Summit in K-Country in mid-June, when it is anticipated Donald Trump will potentially be at the table?
Well, it's important that Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is present here in Banff for this negotiations, largely because he's going to be able to set the stage for what will likely come next month at the broader leaders discussions for the G7, and can give a sense of what is on the mind of the president. He can begin to lay out. He's one of the more thoughtful and practical people within the administration. So I hope that he's able to bring a sense of some pathway, a sense of where the president wants to go with this, and to get some alignment around the G7 leaders so that they can begin to figure out how do they make their policy adapt, how do they come to the table with some of the trade negotiations that they're doing bilaterally with the United States. And frankly, from a Canada perspective, how do we begin to set the table for the USMCA review that's needing to happen in 2026 so that we can begin to plan, we can begin to get a sense of what's really on the minds of the United States. How are we all going to collectively deal with China so that we can begin to make the adaptation so Canada can have a strong and robust, meaningful foreign, political, and trade policy going forward.
Speaking of seeking political alignment, you're in Ottawa next week as Parliament is resuming. King Charles will be delivering the speech from the throne, introducing the new Liberal government's priorities. What's the message you'll be looking to deliver? What are you looking for the Carney government to prioritize?
Well, we're going in partnership with our four Western province business councils from British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and our collective message really is about unleashing the natural resource sector here in Canada. It's the most productive sector in the country by a wide margin. It's our greatest export across to not only the United States but internationally. And so we really want to make sure that the federal government is focused on three things. The first is really let's get back to building. So whether that is trade infrastructure of our of our ports, our pipelines, our airports, our rail capacity. We really need to be making those strategic investments to enable Canada to trade, not only across our provincial borders within the United States, but also to other international markets. The second is, let's invest in ourselves. We need to make sure that we have the skilled trades that are going to be in place to build all of this incredible infrastructure we need as a country to be, as the Prime Minister talks about, the strongest economy in the G7, making sure we have the right immigration system to be able to bring in the best and the brightest from around the world. And finally, let's compete and win. We have to recognize that we have the weakest economy in the G7, one of the weakest in the OECD. Canada is not well positioned, and we've actually had a very sluggish and lost decade from an economic standpoint. So we need to get back to an economic agenda that's going to ensure that provinces can play to their strengths, that they can develop the resources and the assets that they have, we can trade them amongst ourselves and internationally, and that we've got a path forward from a competitive tax position. We reduce the unnecessary policy that's really curtailing our natural resource sector so that we can begin to make Canadians feel wealthy again and prosperous again, and that their future is looking better than it did yesterday. So those are really the key things that we hope this new federal government will do very quickly, because time is not on our side. We have to get an economic agenda going forward. Otherwise, we'll continue to miss years and days of opportunity lost.
Speaking of time, I'm going to squeeze in one more quick one. 2 Alberta Liberals elected in last month's federal election, 1 appointed to cabinet, that being Eleanor Olszewski. The Edmonton MP, also responsible for Prairie's economic development, Canada. How far do you see that appointment going to representing the interests of this province, especially as this lingering issue of separation is in the background?
Well, I mean, great to see that we have an Edmonton-based MP in cabinet, but I'd argue that more broadly, the West was underrepresented in the cabinet selection. It's only about 20% of the ministers and secretaries of state that were appointed, but we represent 33% of the population, approximately the same amount economically. So we didn't quite see the Western representation, and particularly the Alberta representation. We think that both MPs could have found a position within the broader cabinet suite. So disappointed with that, but we look forward to working with all new ministers and their respective portfolios, and hopefully over time that the Alberta and Western representation can grow within cabinet.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Appreciate your time this evening, Mr. Legge. As always, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Michael.
Adam Legge is president of the Business Council of Alberta.